Hello everybody, and welcome to Psychology Brothers, where we talk about many pointless things, but
they have a point.
they do. Right then, here we are again, Craig.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Definitely a long time, and it's nice to be back here with you again, my old chum.
I've changed a little bit, have you noticed?
No? In what way?
Growing my beard out.
Growing your beard out?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I've noticed. What's the other thing that you may think the viewer may have noticed has changed about you?
You can't see them, but I've got really nice flip-flops on.
So you got nice, show the viewers your flip-flops. Nice red flip-flops, great legs, great legs. And what else is there that's changed about you, Craig?
Probably my soul.
Your soul?
Yeah.
Has it been blessed with kindness, your soul?
It's been through a roller coaster of emotions, and I suppose a lot of self-discovery.
Okay. And what self-discovery has your soul been blessed with?
Discovering a little bit more about how the world actually works.
Tell me some more, I'd like some medicine there.
Well, I didn't realise we was in a game.
A game?
We're in a game where we're all playing and we don't know the rules. However, I feel like I discovered the rules, but in a way as well, it still doesn't help you play the game any better.
So you discovered the rules to the game, and you was hoping that knowing the rules of the game would help you play the game better.
Yeah.
And it's led you to realise that it doesn't really help you play the game of life better.
I suppose, imagine rolling a dice and one person always gets 6. They always get a 6 and they always win. You know it's impossible to roll the dice and always get 6. No one in the world, as much as you practice rolling a dice.
It's your ball, Dad.
You got it!
It's your ball, Dad, that's what's changed. So
It is.
Go on then anyway, you roll a 6.
You can't roll a 6 every time.
You
So
can't.
what I've discovered now, my discovery of the rules is...
And just before we go any further, we're talking metaphorically here, people out there, not literally. Metaphorically.
that sometimes you roll a 1.
1. And what does the 1 symbolise, Craig? What does the 1?
I suppose the 6 is the euphoria, the bliss, everything that we're after, and the
Yeah.
1 would be the opposite to that, which is the sadness and the negativity. And I've discovered that each day you roll, sometimes you get a 1, sometimes you get a 6, sometimes you get a 3, sometimes you get a lots of 3s.
Do you know what, as metaphors go, that is a really good metaphor. I really like that. So knowing that no matter what comes in the day, you're bound to roll a number. It could be a 1, a 3, a 5 or a 6. And tell me what you've learnt about rolling those 1s and the 3s and the 6s.
Well, first of all, I'd like to add that the problem I had before is thinking that I could master always rolling a 6, and almost becomes, I'm not sure of the word for it, but sort of a desire to always roll a 6 every day, from the time you wake up to the time you fall asleep.
And a 6 is a good feeling, a positive outlook.
Pure happiness,
Yeah,
which we all get,
yeah.
and I tried to get rid of the 1s, I tried to get rid of the 2s and the 3s. I wasn't happy with 3s, but 3s aren't bad. 3s
No.
still move you along, don't they?
What about 1s and how are you handling rolling the 1s in life, Craig? Or not you rolling the 1s, but maybe life rolling that 1 for you in, with the dice.
I suppose I'm handling it a little bit better. Realising that it is part of the game. It's you can't get a positive without knowing what a negative is in the first place.
Yeah.
How can you be happy about a situation if you've never felt sadness about a situation?
It's for me, I think it's a lovely way of making you realise that not everything is within your control, and actually being out of your control and seeing that life can roll you a one means that it's okay, that it's not meant to be any other way sometimes, and that it doesn't take any ego to try and control it and go, I need to turn a 1 into a 6. In our past experiences we've learnt that we can sometimes sculpt the number 2 into a 4 and try and get a better outlook or a feeling as opposed to a negative way of looking at something. So there is a level of control there, but ultimately realising that sometimes you are going to get thrown a 1. Life is going to throw you a 1, and there is sometimes nothing or no outlook that you can place upon it that's going to change what number it is, isn't there?
What I've discovered, what I've learnt is when you get a 6, you decide to react to that 6, don't you? You as a person experience the rolling of the 6, and you have the consequences after that. And we also control the 1s. So when you get down to 1, it doesn't have to be doom and gloom, because it's still the same process of getting the 6, and it's you in control of how you handle the 1. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah. For me, the sobering and rolling of the number 1 came to me a few weeks ago when my grandmother was taken ill. And you know what? The incredible thing about understanding psychology is the old outlook was that we can turn a 4 into a 6 or a 2 into a 5 or whatever it may be, and that we've got some control over that. But then when you see somebody that you love completely suffering in the way that they are, that is pretty much a 1, isn't it? And actually realising that there's no need for me to try and see it in a different situation that's going to give me that number 6, and actually just to accept the feeling for what it was, and that I felt right down there in the dumps, and that it was a difficult understanding at the time, because I was reaching out to psychology or a way of thinking that would get me out of that. And actually sometimes just to give myself over to a higher understanding that I'm not aware of, that just goes, this is life. It's going to be a number 1 sometimes, you know what I mean?
It's I like to always use the Rubik's Cube as an analogy for life.
I'm not a big fan of that one, but go on, see if you can win the viewer over.
The Rubik's Cube is an amazing thing that someone can do in 3 seconds, and it's done. For me, I don't know the pattern or the rules of the Rubik's Cube, so straight away I'm going to struggle, because that person who can do it in 3 seconds, or maybe someone who can do it in a day, at least they know the rules, the pattern. So with life now, I've discovered at least I know the rules of a Rubik's Cube, so at least I've got a chance of it. I'm not saying
That's
I'm going
to... I like this analogy now. I didn't like it before, maybe I never understood it.
I'm not going to do it in 3 seconds, I'm not going to do it in a couple of days.
But with what you know, it gives you the tools to have a better chance at mastering that Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, and I think the Rubik's Cube is one of the many few things out there. Many few, I love that.
Yeah.
That is if you think about most games, everybody knows how to play Monopoly. You know the rules, don't you?
Yeah.
No one's really out there saying, what are the rules of this game? With a Rubik's Cube, there is some people that just don't even know where to start, and they're just moving squares around, aren't they? And in a way, throughout the whole life, you can even get to the ripe old age where you pass away on your deathbed, never knowing the pattern of life and how to at least have a stab of playing it for the best interest of you and the loved ones around you.
So if we go back to the dice, away from the Rubik's Cube analogy, which I now like, by the way, but if we go back to the dice, the message we'd like to get out there to you is that it's okay for you to feel pain and feel uncomfortable in your pain and annoyed with your pain and frustrated with your pain, Because if it wasn't okay for you to feel those things, you wouldn't feel them, would you? Does that make sense?
Just explain that one a bit more. By the way, is your nan okay?
The good news is she's going to be coming out of hospital, but she's still got a long, difficult recovery on her hands.
Did you get her some grapes?
You know what? This could take me onto a whole new discussion about hospitals and how they try and get people on their feet. Rather than giving them fruit and medicine that the earth's provided for them, they'd rather give them 25 different drugs that all have different effects on the body. Well, anyway, that's a different video.
Great analogy for grapes as well, coming up in part 2 of that video.
Okay, thanks, Craig. But going back to the original argument, it's when we feel like we've been thrown a one in life, a negative experience that gives us these negative feelings that usually result in anger, frustration, sadness. Instead of using psychology to try and get you out of those feelings, rather just accept that it's okay for you to have those feelings and to feel them for a while without thinking, no, I need to use psychology, or I need to see this in a different way that's going to make me feel better. Just to accept that you've been thrown on one in life, and the way that you feel and the way that you think right now is okay. Is okay. Completely okay.
I think there's a...
Did that make more sense to you then?
Yeah, I think there's a sort of... People don't like to ever sound like they don't know something, or there's a worry about...
What does that sound like?
There's a worry about feeling stupid.
Somebody that doesn't know something, what's that like? I've never experienced that. Usually I always know what I
You do
know.
have a broad knowledge of the universe, don't you? And garden furniture, I've noticed. You know a lot about garden furniture, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Is that your 3 years in B&Q?
Could be.
So, going back to people, humans,
No.
when you ask somebody things that they know, so if you ask them the 10 subjects that you'd like to be asked questions on that you would know, there's 2 things that not many people would say, and that's themselves and where we live, which is planet Earth. Somehow we're brought up knowing all about science, mathematics, English, subjects which we then take into our careers, and we learn about careers. So you have mechanics that know all about cars and all sorts of a variety of jobs. However, we are no expert on ourselves as a human.
I'm just looking at you in this moment, and you are a beautiful human being, aren't you?
Thank you.
You are.
Oh yeah, it's a beard, isn't it?
It's not the beard, it's your spirit that lives through the skin of every pore within your face and skin.
Steady on there.
You are just a beautiful human being, aren't you? Anyway, as I pass these few moments blushing, I would like to say that let's look at the 5 things then that we've new things that we've learnt about our experiences that we share with you. We equally understand that a lot of you guys, while we've been going through the mill with feelings and learnings, that equally you guys, or some of you guys have been as well. So what 5 things would you put out there, Craig, that's going to try and make people more accept who they are and the way they feel right now?
I don't think you can really say 5 things to anybody.
Number one is just to accept yourself for the anger that you may hold, the depression that you may feel, the anxiety that you've been suffering with for a long time. Accept that you feel those feelings and that it's okay. You've not got to change for anybody out there. Number 2.
Well, I don't think you can put 5 things out there.
Number 2. Realise that you're a fundamentally imperfect perfectly perfect human being, and that you ain't going to have all the answers, all the ways or coping mechanisms to get you out of any suffering that you're feeling in your life now. And that's okay too. Number 3, Craig.
If I was going to say 5 things, which I don't agree with 5 things.
Number 3.
Chocolate. Chocolate just seems to help. However, some people might be allergic to chocolate. Can you be allergic to chocolate? God, I'd hate to be allergic to
So
chocolate.
would I. Number 4. What would you say number 4 is?
Just, it's alright to say 5 things to people and give them this list
Yeah.
of help,
Yeah.
help, help. Number 1, help. Number 2, help. Number 3, help.
I'll just be careful now, because if you belittle my 5 ways of being, right?
Chocolate was good.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like chocolate, dairy milk. But if you belittle the 5 ways of making people feel better about the situations they're in, it's going to shame me that maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
And that's okay though, isn't it?
If you love yourself, it is. And you know what? I don't know a lot about what I'm talking about, so continue with your 4th one, Craig.
I disagree.
Hold on. Jesus, this is the Titanic song. I get emotional when this comes on.
Why does this make you emotional?
Just to think that people went through this experience. Go on anyway.
I thought it was Leonardo DiCaprio. Got a soft spot for him, haven't you?
I have. Go on.
I think it's okay for all these life coaches, these motivational experts to all come onto the screen and tell you,
We've got our shit together and you haven't.
Do this, do that. You can't concentrate on that one. You can't concentrate on one thing sometimes, never mind the 5.
No.
So what I would just say is do what you have to do. Learn the way that you have to learn. Sometimes it's not by listening to people. Sometimes it's by just doing whatever you have to do in your own way. You'll get there, whether it's 10 years, 1 week, maybe never, maybe tomorrow.
Good one. And number 5, I always find a good way to finish these things is to realise, or help the viewer realise, the power and the height of survival that they have running through their own veins, that no matter how difficult and painful they feel right now in the moment, that A, first of all, it's okay for them to feel it, but B, realising or helping them see actually how much they've survived and overcome, the trauma, the pain, the experiences that make them feel so in so much pain in that present moment, you know what I mean? And realise that up until this point they've still survived all of those things, so no matter how difficult it gets, you really will be able to survive anything that comes your way, because you have done already.
Can I just stop you there? Not to shame you,
You're straining me again.
but to somebody who's deep in depression watching this video, they won't ever see the positive light in which you speak, and I know that you have healed and gone through stuff and gone down a journey. Some people don't know where the rabbit hole even begins, and I think me and you sometimes have to be careful of not sort of
He's telling me off.
telling too much sort of knowledge that we know, but to somebody out there, the people that really need the help, we can sound almost like, imagine a heart surgeon telling you all about how to do heart surgery.
I'm going to edit this out of the video.
It would all sound gobbledygook to you, wouldn't it? Because you haven't got a degree.
My ego has been left squashed up on the doormat, and I would say to you, I can use perspectives to try and bring my ego back into it, but on this occasion I'm not, and your perspective is 100% right.
You can edit it out if you want.
I'm not going to edit
Feel
it out.
bad now.
I'm not. You don't have to feel bad.
Okay.
You don't have
That's
to feel. We're all here learning, aren't we? So hopefully you've learnt something here today, guys, and that's that me and Craig.
Glad to be back.
Yes, we're glad to be back. Glad to be back. I feel like I've just been thrown a 1. But you've been thrown a fucking 6.
I've done the Rubik's Cube in 3 seconds. without it moving. Most people spin it, I'll just do that.
Alright then everybody, Psychology Brothers out, where we talked about, again, many pointless things, but
I love the analogies.
with a point.